Good morning, and welcome to the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton, a welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Karen Kinnear, and I'm online right now, and I serve as facilitator for small group ministry at FPC. For those visiting FPC for the first time, we welcome you. Please let us know you were here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher, drop it in the plate, or hand it to Meg, our welcoming staff member. Our minister, staff, and board are listed on the front order of the service. Please feel free to ask me or any of these people for more information. If you would like a large print hymnal or an assisted listening device, please ask our ushers. Our assisted listening devices are small radios, and we broadcast the service on radio 107.7 FM. Anyone is welcome to use one of these if you want a louder volume in the sanctuary or anticipate needing to leave the sanctuary during the service, but still want to listen in. Nursery care is available during the service. For K through 5 children, children usually attend the first part of the service and then leave for classes. For youth programming and other information, see the bulletin or ask our religious education director, Rayla Baldwin-Mattson, or an usher. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is down the stairs or the elevator at the other end of our building. And I think it's warmer down there. We're in a breakout room if you're joining us online. I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service, and also to invite you to check out our webpage. We can sign up for our newsletter and email alerts. Please join us for coffee hour, and I hope you've brought some vitamins and toothpaste for our friends in India. I'd also like to invite you to do something for yourself this year. So I'd like to invite you to try joining a small group ministry group, or SGM, to make some new friends and grow your support community. So SGM groups of 8 to 11 people meet once a month for 2 hours for a year, starting in February. So that's a 24-hour-a-year commitment. This year, we are doing a joint SGM program with UCMH, our Marlborough Hudson sister church. So we're looking to add more groups, like another daytime in-person group, which we've had multiple people ask for. To do this, we could also use some additional facilitators. What I like personally about SGM is that I feel as though I have a close group of people who care about each other. And over the years, I've been in multiple groups, and so that's grown to include a lot of our church folks. Also, actually, I'm quite shy, so having a topic helps me get to know people without having to be good at starting conversations. Registration for SGM is open on our website, which is listed in your order of service. It's fpcstoweacton.org/SGM. It's open through January 19th, or mail me personally if that's easier. It's karen@kinnear.com. I'm doing the registration spreadsheet. Feel free to stop by our SGM table at coffee hour to find out more about SGM, about facilitating, or to fill out a paper registration if that's easier, or just to say hi. Wait a second. So our minister, the Reverend Dr. Cindy Landrum, is currently on sabbatical. Today, we're delighted to have Reverend Nannene Gowdy speaking to us. Reverend Gowdy is Minister Emerita at FPC in Billerica, where she served for many years. For 8 years, she was on the UUA Board Trustee for our district. She served on many UUA anti-racism committees and now in retirement volunteers for the UU Trauma Response Ministry. So welcome, Reverend Gowdy. Now let us come together for a time of community, singing, and worship.
Good morning. Good morning. Our opening words this morning are the first poem I ever learned. He drew a circle and shut me out. Heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle and took him in. Are they in the order of service? This is what happens when you're new to a situation. We're having the chalice lighting, but apparently there is supposed to be some words. So we light this chalice. Let's join together in singing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Please remain standing for the covenant and affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We acknowledge that we are on the unceded territories of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, Pawtucket, and Wampanoag peoples, as well as honoring and recognizing the Black and African people whose unpaid and forced labor built this country and our state. We celebrate and work in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and people of color organizations, leading the movement for our collective liberation in line with our UU values.
Happy New Year. I'd like to invite any children, youth, adults who would like to come forward for a time for all ages to join me now. Good morning. So today we're going to talk about love. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, I have a little song and a little dance, that I can do. And my daughter was like, please don't. It's kind of like, a collection of many different songs. Just the only part that I know. So instead of singing for you, I'm going to ask you, what are some things that you love?
My pets.
My mom.
Life.
And how do we know if we love something?
You take care of them.
We just find the answer.
Help.
Because they help us? Oh, because they help us. That's true. So before I moved to Connecticut, I live in Connecticut, not Mass. I was living somewhere that I absolutely loved. And how did I know I loved it? Because every day I was laughing and smiling and having fun, and I enjoyed all the people around me. But then I found out in Connecticut, my grandmother was really, really sick. And so I decided to leave the area that I absolutely loved to move up to Connecticut because I loved my grandmother more, right? So sometimes we can love more than one thing, right? And sometimes we can love something a little bit more. Like, who in here likes candy? And who in here has ever had a pet? Now, would you rather have your pet or the candy?
My pet.
Yeah, our pet, right? So we can love things, but at a different level. So today I did want to shoot off all these hearts. And Kennedy said no to that too. So, no dancing, no singing, no hearts flying across the room. But what I am going to give you is I'm going to give you 2 hearts each. One you can give to someone that you love, and the other you keep because you love yourself. Does that sound good? And after we do that, Quinn, do you want to light the chalice? Okay. Nope.
While they're lighting the chalice, let's review the song we sing as everyone leaves. Repeat after me. Our love surrounds you. Here joy has found you. Let hope abound freely. Go in peace. Let hope abound freely. Go in peace. Put it all together. Our love surrounds you. Here joy has found you. Let hope abound freely. Go in peace. Our love surrounds you. Here joy has found you. Let hope abound freely. Go in peace. One more time. Our love surrounds you. Here joy has found you. Let hope abound freely. Go in peace.
I'd like to invite Ann Sadler to come up and lead the joys and sorrows.
Good morning and Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Anne Sadler and I am one of your lay ministers. We are a group of people who help our minister with pastoral support. And you can contact us using the email address that's in your program for today's service. Not hearing anything, we'll light 2 more candles, one for the cost of war, and one for all the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, but we hold in our hearts.
Today's meditation is Connections Are Made Slowly by Marge Percy. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. More than half of a tree is spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns the garden. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Weave real connections. Create real nodes. Build real houses. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving. Keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in. A thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and lairs. Live as if you like yourself. And it may happen. Reach out. Keep reaching out. Keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time. Not always. For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes. Let's join together in singing hymn number 568, There Is More Love. Sorry. Hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere. The reading today is Love and Courage by Joseph Smith. A Russian author was hunting with his dog Trevor. I looked along the avenue and saw a young sparrow with yellow about its beak and down on its head. It had fallen out of the nest and sat unable to move, helplessly flapping its half-grown wings. My dog was slowly approaching it, when suddenly darting down from the tree close by, an old dark-throated sparrow fell like a stone right before his nose, and all ruffled up, terrified, with despairing cheeps, it flung itself twice towards the open jaws of my dog's shining teeth. It sprang to save. It cast itself before its nestlings, but all its tiny body was shaking with terror. Its note was harsh and strange. Swooning with fear, it offered itself up. What a huge monster my dog must have seemed to it, and yet it could not stay, the bird could not stay on its high branch out of danger. A force stronger than its will had flung it down. My dog, Tresser, stood still, drew back. Clearly, he too recognized this force. I hastened to call off the disconcerted dog and went away full of reverence. Yes, reverence. Do not laugh. I felt reverence that for that tiny, heroic bird, for its impulse of love. Love, I thought, is stronger than death or the fear of death. Only by it, by love, life holds together and advances. Love, yes, and courage too. I think of the love and courage of those Russians who stand against the Ukrainian invasion and face the terror of long prison sentences. People fighting for the lives of women now tormented by the anti-abortion laws in so many states. The women of Afghanistan living under religious barbarism. Love and courage, yes, too for us in our everyday struggles and joys. Speaking up for what is right, reaching out to friends in need, even when we are hurting ourselves, giving freely of our time and money to build up others, and sometimes taking great risks to save those we love.
Good morning. During the month of January, we are sharing our weekly offering with FPC's Supporting Asylum Seekers Task Force. We directly support several local immigrant families as they seek housing, English language proficiency, employment, and to secure legal residence. We also work with a 7-church partnership to support additional families, including a Rohingya refugee family in Lowell. Specific activities include transportation to jobs and medical appointments, assisting with obtaining driver's licenses, resume writing, job searching and interviews, obtaining legal representation and cultural orientation. Finally, at times we have worked to change policy, for instance, by supporting the recent initiative to expand the rights of immigrants to obtain driver's licenses. My husband, Justin, and I are relatively new members of SAS, and we're lucky enough to be paired with Bernard Kiwiwa, his wife, Jane, and their children, William and Celestia, last August. I'm going to pass the mic to Bernard so he can say a few words about his experience with SAS.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's give the Lord a mighty hand clap. And thank you everyone for having me here. My wife Jane is over there. Our children have just gone to the other section. We are indeed heartily so delighted to be here in Massachusetts, but also to be known by the SAS. For whatever they do, or whatever we are, it is exactly what humanity represents. We are victims, but here we are victors. Only because there are people who help. There are many times people go in need. We fall into the abyss of need. Many, many days, many times. But there is just one time, just one opportunity that came so close to us and was the greatest light that we ever needed. The least that we needed. We got it. The SAS, Anne came to us. She told us, we are from this church and we are here. Please tell us what you need. And I told her, would you like to know about why we're here, how we came here and everything? No, just tell us what you need. And I said, that has never happened in my life. So she came with an invisible team behind her. And that invisible team is called the SAS. She said it is the asylum seekers, they give assistance to asylum seekers. There is Mark Mokoeng, and Justin, her husband, and their child Nathan. There's one here, he's called Steve. I didn't have it, yes, over there. I didn't have a driver's license. I couldn't go anywhere with my family. He said, come, I'm going to teach you how to, how to run around these roads, and you'll be easy. You get your driver's. In just a week or so, 2 weeks, I got the driver's license. Yay. And then the time came, he's assisting my wife to do the 3-point turn. Sometimes people come out their doors, what are you doing with my car? Around my car. And Mark is like, here Jen is just learning how to do the 3-point turn and do the parallel parking. This is not easy here, but we are so delighted that we get this small assistance, because these small steps help us to move on to the next level of being people and assisting others. We have 3 children, 2 here and 1 in Uganda. She's in university. But we keep helping each other in every way, helping ourselves here and helping people the other side. We are big because you have made us big. We thank the Lord. We praise the Lord. I also want to thank just a few people. Cataldo, the Cataldo family. Yes. Jen had a challenge. She had to go for an operation. But the Cataldo family, they brought her a bed to sleep. They brought her a meal. They brought us a meal at home. I was at home with the kids, in the hospital with Jen, doing all the sorts of things. But the aunts helped us to move here and there and make things work so that we are what we are today. We are delighted. We are standing on our feet. Everybody is healthy, and we are glad because you have made us glad. Keep the work that you are doing. We appreciate with all our hearts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And Bernard mentioned a few names, and there are many more from this church, so thank you so much. It's amazing. I put out a call and right away get what we need, and there'll be more needs. I'm delighted to share that both Jane and Bernard both just got jobs, so they will be needing a lot of transportation actually in the coming months. So please stop by our table during coffee hour after today's service to learn more about our families and the work we do. The morning's offering will now be gratefully accepted.
When I memorized the words to the opening poem by Edwin Markham, I was in high school English class. We were told that if we were told that Markham was a universalist, it would have meant nothing to me, as I had never heard of either Unitarians or Universalists in Maumee, Ohio. It was another 6 years before I heard about the Unitarians. I was part of the 24-hour vigil in front of the Boston School Committee protesting the racial imbalance in the Boston school system. Participants had hours in which to talk to one another as we walked in an oval on the sidewalk. I noticed that a good many of the people I talked to were Unitarian ministers. I was particularly impressed with Jack Mendelson, minister of Arlington Street Church, and started attending his services. Way led on to way, and here I still am. I became a Unitarian Universalist shortly after the merger in 1961 of the Unitarians and the Universalists. I thought of myself as a Unitarian because I was drawn to the intellectualism of Unitarian history. The Universalist seemed a little less serious, although I liked the idea of a loving God that granted universal salvation. I recognized that I was naive because I thought all biases and prejudices that people could have would be corrected if only they had the information that would change those biases and prejudices. It was simply a matter of education. That's why I became a teacher. Alas, as I grew older and experienced more of the world, I was the one who got the education. Some minds are permanently closed, and no information in the world will open them. This is why we are in the political situation we are in right now. Love as a theological focal point came into our religious tradition primarily through our Universalist roots. Universalism emphasized a loving God over a punishing God and preached a version of humans who are united by love. This love was synonymous with the divine. I now believe that the Universalists were right to emphasize the importance of love. Nor am I alone in this. For years, the Unitarian Universalist Association has stressed the importance of love. I bought this t-shirt about 30 years ago, standing on the side of love. Many UU churches recite the reading, "Love is the doctrine of this church." I notice that you have a version of that original here every Sunday. At the last UUA General Assembly, love was declared to be central to our beliefs. While I was in seminary, I stopped using the word God and now substitute love, for I believe love is the higher power, perhaps the highest. I have seen love perform miracles, big and small. The reading today is an example of one of the small miracles love can do. This small mother bird loved her chick, so she was willing to sacrifice herself to save it. Man and dog stood in awe of a love so great. Love does exist in small ways. A person can say they are not a hugger, but still find solace in a hug following bad news. Parents often tell a child they don't need any presents, but their eyes will light up over a card with a nice message. A family member might never say, "I love you," but you notice the little things they do for you, which say more than words ever can. A spouse might not be demonstrative, but wordlessly helps you when you are struggling with some task. People love you quietly in small ways. If you look for them, you will find the air is buzzing with tiny gestures. Once you look for them, you will find them everywhere. These are small miracles that happen because of love. The word love itself can be meaningless. It is the actions behind it which give love its meaning. We Unitarian Universalists have always believed that actions speak louder than words. You have been giving an example today in your sharing the plate of just that. This is especially true for the word love. Without action, it is totally meaningless. I am here today because of love. On December 9th, my best friend, the Reverend Susan Sahusky Brown, was rushed to the hospital in Gardner. They discovered that she had pneumonia and infected diverticula, and that had all set off a heart attack. After 3 days, they decided they were unable to further treat her, so she was airlifted to St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Boston. After 12 days there, she was well enough to be sent to rehab hospital in Worcester. This past Friday, 26 days later, she was finally able to go home. The reason I'm telling you this all is because Reverend Susan was supposed to be here today to start as your interim minister, while Reverend Cindy is on sabbatical. I told Susan that I would cover this service for her because she was very worried that she would not be well enough, and boy, was she right. I don't often tell Susan that I love her, but we show each other frequently that we do. In my totally unbiased opinion, when she is well enough to take up her duties here, you are in for a treat. For the last 60 years, I and others have been able to have a home in the UUA. I have changed over the years, and so has the UUA. But our beliefs were never set in stone. We have deliberately avoided creeds, doctrines, and tenets which mindlessly get repeated. With love at the center, we have been able to stay as a home to all, Christians, theists, atheists, humanists, and pagans. It is this flexibility which allows us to reach deeper, to find more meaning in our current lives. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "We must discover the power of love, the power the redemptive power of love. And when we discover that, we will be able to make this old world into a new world. Love is the only way. End quote. I believe our recognizing and using the redemptive power of our love is exactly what is needed in the world today. And if that happens, wouldn't that be a miracle in itself? Let's join together in singing hymn number 131. The benediction this morning is Touched by an Angel by Maya Angelou. We, unaccustomed to courage, exiled from delight, lives coiled in shells of loneliness until love reaches its high holy temple and comes into our sight to liberate us into life. Love arrives, and in its train comes ecstasies, old memories of pleasure, ancient histories of pain. Yet if we are bold, love strikes away the chains of fear from our souls. We are weaned from our timidity in the flesh of love's light, and we dare to be brave. Amen.